We are going to drain the swamp.
Well, it turns out that swamp of the federal government goes a lot deeper than even most of us thought. An opinion piece from Investors Business Daily saying the swamp that Trump is trying to drain isn't really a swamp, it's an ocean. It's backed up by stats from a new report from Open the Books. This shows evidence that employees of government agencies are using those agencies for their own personal gains. Case in point, it costs taxpayers $1 million a minute to employ the workforce the government discloses. Let's bring in Fred Barnes. He is the executive editor for the Weekly Standard. Fred, this is a fascinating report. I mean, I grew up in D.C. I know, how much more government workers usually make than folks in the private sector, but extraordinary figures in this. I wonder if President Trump knew how bad it was.
Oh, well, he does now, and I don't think he knew how big it actually is. And in fact, look, I've lived my whole life here and written about the federal government, and there are things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
When you put the military involved in there, it costs just the personnel costs something like $220 billion a year. I mean, with an average salary at minimum salary at most of these agencies, a majority of them is $100,000 or more.
Let's even go more specifically than that, because this is a fascinating stat from this report. The number of federal employees making over $190,823 a year, 852. The number of U.S. governors making the same amount, 0. In other words, about 30,000 federal employees make more than any governor in the United States.
And that's more than I think more than a lot of members of the House of Representatives. I'm not sure about senators, but it's an awful lot of money. And I tell you, I know what President Trump has said. He's going to drain the swamp. I'm not optimistic.
Well, he's from the private sector, Fred, and the fact is he wants to apply private sector standards to what the government does. Now, a lot of presidents have tried to do it, but not many presidents came from the private sector. Here's an example of how they don't mesh the private and public sectors. The average benefits for government workers, specifically days off, they get a total of 43 days off. That translates into 8.5 weeks of paid vacations. Now, who in the private sector gets 8.5 weeks off?
I don't. In fact, I don't know anybody who does. And besides, you're leaving out that they get earlier retirements and better pensions. So there's all that to boot. But it is. I mean, this is a huge problem. It's a similar problem in state governments as well. But it's humongous here.
Well, let me just bring it back to something that people are debating about, which is that there's a split between Paul Ryan, who wants to cut the size of government, focus on entitlements. Mitch McConnell and the president say, not now, we'll deal with that later. First, we have to do infrastructure. Well, here's something that the president could be doing, I think, just on an agency level. What he could be doing is cutting the waste and fraud in some of these entitlements. We just heard from a GAO report that there's $60 billion wasted in Medicare alone. Then in Medicaid, you have $36.3 billion wasted either in waste or fraud or a combination of the two. You add those together and you're up to almost $100 billion if you just cut out the waste and fraud. So he may be able to do this without Congress.
Well, I don't know. It's going to be awful hard. Remember, we had the Grace Commission, and remember under President Clinton, we had reinventing government that didn't get anywhere, or zero-based budgeting under Jimmy Carter. I mean,
but Jimmy Carter is not Donald Trump. I mean, they approach things in a very different manner.
I grant you that, and I think he's very serious about this, and he means it, but it's going to be awful hard to do, and you have to go about it the right way. The first thing that has to happen is to get, say, the department heads, they have to get control of the departments.
That's a good point.
And you really need tough people. Scott Pruitt at EPA is one, but you can't say that about many of the people who are supposed to head and run these departments.
On the other hand, you look at what Scott Pruitt at the EPA has done in terms of cutting back regulations, 22 removed for every new regulation. It's extraordinary. Fred, I look forward to 2018 with you. Thank you very much. Happy New Year.